Hey kids, so today we're going to talk to you about pollinators and monocultures. So, what is a pollinator? Well, a pollinator is a biotic agent that moves pollen from the male anthers of a flower to the female stigma of a flower to accomplish fertilization or of the female gametes in the ovule of the flower by the male gametes from the pollen grain. Some examples of pollinators are the honeybees. Probably the most well-known pollinator, honeybees are credited with pollinating much of the food we eat. They are considered the most important insect known to humans. Berries, pears, apples, citrus, melons, peas, beans, and tomatoes are just a few of the foods that would not exist without honeybees. In fact, about a third of the food we eat is pollinated by honeybees. Hawk moths are uniquely adapted to the hawk moth orchid, which keeps its nectar reward at the base of a very long flower. Hawk moths have a long tongue that is exactly the right size to reach the nectar. Now, the fig, that fleshy, sweet fruit used to make the delicious fig Newton, would not exist without the intervention of the fig wasp. The wasp pollinates the fig when the female lays her eggs in the developing fruit. She picks up pollen on her ovipositor and then transfers it to a new plant as she lays eggs. Fun fact, you know that crunch you get when you eat a fig? Well, some of that crunch is from fig seeds, while the rest of it is fig wasp eggs. So why are pollinators so important? Well, pollinators are responsible for the reproduction of plants. Listen.
What gets the pollen going to keep new plants growing? Different kinds of birds do, or the wind that's blowing. Butterflies and bees, and pollinate. That's what makes pollination work. When bright colored flowers have a sweet perfume and a sugary nectar, then the chances are good that birds and insects active, trying to answer nectar and spread the pollen as they go.
Wow, sounds great, doesn't it? Well, farmers think otherwise. In the United States, about 40.8% of the land is set aside for crops. Common crop fields include corn and wheat. We call these monocultures, defined as the cultivation of a single crop in a given area. Oftentimes when you drive out west, you'll see nothing but cornfields. For example, nearly all of Nebraska. While this abundance of corn may bring profit to our farmers of America, this yearly rotation of crops leads to the depletion of nutrients in the soil. Still, in order to keep the economy flowing, farmers do what they can to produce the annual crop. This may require the assistance of pesticides. Well, what are pesticides? Pesticides are a substance used for destroying insects or other organisms harmful to cultivated plants or to animals. Near the later months of 2011, a study was conducted and it observed honeybees living near agricultural fields. 3 pesticides were observed during this research: And for the sake of clarity, we'll just call them X, Y, and Z. Plants visited by foraging bees growing near these fields were found to contain neonicotinoids as well. This indicates deposition of neonicotinoids on the flowers, uptake by the root system, or both. Dead bees collected near hive entrances during the spring sampling period were found to contain clothianidin as well, although whether exposure was oral, which means consuming pollen, or by contact, soil, plants, or dust, is unclear. We also detected the insecticide clothianidin in pollen collected by bees and stored in the hive. When maize plants in our field reached anthesis, maize pollen from treated seed was found to contain clothianidin and other pesticides, and honeybees in our study readily collected maize pollen. While we may be intending to protect our crops, farmers are actually being detrimental to the economy and other factors. The most important pollinator for agricultural purposes is the honeybee. One estimate of the annual benefit of managed honeybees to American consumers when they supplement the services provided by native pollinators is $1.6 billion. When native pollinators are not available to service crops, the estimated value of managed honeybees rises to $8.3 billion. The benefit of all other pollinators to U.S. agriculture is estimated between $4.1 and $6.7 billion annually. Basically, it saves us a lot of money.